Hi, I'm Brian Mallow, and I'm speaking with Krishna Kumar Vasudevan. He's one of the 12 finalists in the Berkeley Labs Research Slam this year, the fourth annual, and he's a project scientist at Berkeley in the Biosciences Directorate, a member of the Joint Genome Institute. Is that right, Krishna?
Yeah, yes, it is.
And you're a synthetic biologist. What is a synthetic biologist?
So basically, synthetic biologist is nothing but we try to put new things into cells or remove things from cells and see what happens to it and what can we learn from it and what can be used with it.
Okay, that sounds pretty easy. And did you always know that you wanted to be a scientist? What's your path? Where are you from, by the way?
So I'm from a city in India called Chennai. So from my childhood, I was always interested in figuring out how things work. So in my childhood, I used to mix a lot of household chemicals and pour it on plants and see what happens.
Really?
It just drove my parents nuts, but still, it just made me more inspired to figure out, okay, so how do things work and why do some things work this way and some other things work in a different way? So,
and were you already interested in plants in particular? Was there something about plants?
No, it was more about figuring out, they were everywhere. So it's easier to test on them.
Right. They don't run from you.
Yeah, they don't run from you.
And so you decided to pursue that further. You were interested enough to become a scientist, probably starting in India. And what was your path to Berkeley?
So yeah, I did my undergraduate degree in India in biotechnology. So basically, I was interested in biology from the beginning. Then I came to United States and did my PhD in cell biology in University of Georgia. So after that, I did my postdoc at Stanford, so where I worked on frog-killing fungi. So after that, I got interested here.
Yeah. If I don't know the correct terms, but if you do well in the Research Slam and in this Berkeley version, if you become one of the next round finalists, then maybe you'll compete against some old Stanford colleagues.
Yes, hope so.
So what is your presentation about? What is your current research?
So my research focuses on producing a lot of useful renewable bioproducts like renewable plastic bottles, soda cans, and all those things using an organism called algae.
Algae. So using algae to develop what, synthetic fuels and just...
Yeah, like renewable soda bottles. Like soda bottles are not recyclable, many of them, or there is so much plastic waste and all. So, but if you can make something that is infinitely recyclable, that will be great. And many of the ingredients for all the soda bottles and other things like your toothpaste and all are generally derived from fossil fuels. But if you do it from cells, it is easier to make, it is easier to recycle. So that will help us to create the sustainable environment which we all crave. Right.
And somehow through that whole process, it's not as dirty or polluting a process. It doesn't have...
Yeah, because we don't rely so much on fossil fuels that normally these products depend on, but instead we make all the ingredients for these products using cells. So that makes it less dirtier.
So, I mean, I know you said that you've been interested in how these things work since childhood, but what really motivates you? Like, this is a big subject and a big area that's, I mean, it's been important for a long time, but we understand it's critical now and it serves a major... Is that part of your motivation? I mean, what's your motivation? Do you just do it because you love the science and you think it's cool? What gets you up every day to do this job?
So yeah, my answer might sound cheesy, but I've always been wanting to do something, that will impact mankind, something that is, you can directly affect humankind. And first, you wanted to learn how things work and all, but then you have to gain all what you have learned and put into something useful, right? So this, I found it to be directly useful to people because this satisfies one of the most interesting things that we need right now.
Excellent. And you like to understand how things work. Do you have one question that you most want the answer to?
So this is more about biology and science. Like I have two questions. So one is, I like astrophysics. So I wanted to know like what happened, near Big Bang. Closer, like how
What
did the universe
happened? What happened looking around? Yeah.
yeah, so that is like the whole broad based thing. But the second question I wanted to know is exactly how did we develop, right? As humans, we all say, oh, we evolved from single cells. But I also am interested in how did we do that? You know, those are things I'm interested in.
I understand that even though you knew from a pretty young age that you were interested in science, that you had some other interests and you have an interest in music, you studied music pretty seriously?
Yeah, from my childhood, I learned violin. So I was trained to be a classic violinist for like 12 years. So,
but what happened to that? Did you not want to pursue a career there?
Studies came in the way.
Yeah.
I felt that you have to pursue one thing strongly in order to succeed in it. That is my take. So I pursued science. It interested me every day, and I always wanted to learn something new and try something new.
Do you still play it all?
Not as much as I would like to, but
yeah.
Yes.
Might be a little rusty.
Yes.
And, we talked a little bit about the importance of your research and wanting to make a difference there. Well, what about this? Let's talk about the Research Slam. Have you participated in the Research Slam? This is the 4th year. Have you done it before?
No,
it's your first time.
Okay, my first time, so I'm very excited about that.
I'm glad. And what do you have any thoughts or feelings about it? About your excitement? Anything you could elaborate on?
So I'm just excited to share my research to all people from all kinds of view, right? So that is, I feel that is very important, science communication, where you communicate your science to people from all facets of life, so that everyone should know, like, what are we doing and why is it so important?
Excellent. That's that you went. I didn't even have to ask you. I was going to sort of ask you about the importance of there's the research part and then there's this communication part. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't do research. I'm really interested in science communication. And is there something in general that you wish the public better understood about science?
The main thing I wanted people to learn is that it's not like, oh, we are doing everything is, we cannot understand anything or it's so complicated and all. No, it's just you ask, scientists are all doing the same thing. Ask basic questions, figure out how do we need to go about it and what it will answer and how do we interpret whatever we are getting. So these are all things we all do in our everyday lives. So it's just that we apply that in science. So it's not as complicated as people think it is.
Excellent. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. I wish you well. Good luck in the Research Slam coming up in a couple weeks. And thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so much for your